What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to do better, live better, love better, and be better every damn day of their lives. And our Thursday night show, presented by our friends at Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook. Download the app today. They've got odds up on the college football semifinal games, the Peach Bowl, every college football bowl game, and the Michigan State Pitt game, a variety of options for total points and other props. No player props yet, because obviously waiting to see who is in the game, and obviously Kenneth Walker will not be part of that game, and we'll get into that today when we dig into the Groovy Donut Twitter questions here. Jason, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Been an eventful day, and for our live listeners, this is our latest start ever. This is
it's midnight. It's unbelievable. I can't believe we're still here.
It is not that, but it's late night cable almost. Like it's what I enjoy this hour. Like, this is when you settle in for the night,
like
right?
Those people that pay for overnight television to be on camera. Why not? That's what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot to get into, and we'll do it through the Twitter questions. I don't think, like the Kenneth Walker thing that happened today, I think we thought that might happen ever since Mel Tucker used the words uncertain or wasn't certain, whatever exactly he said about Kenneth Walker playing in the bowl game. I think he had an inkling at that point, at least an inkling.
There's no reason to play in the Peach Bowl.
There's not.
For Kenneth Walker. And could you make a case for Peyton Thorne? Like, why play Peyton Thorne then? If you need him for next year, and a lot of these guys don't care about the game, you don't have Kenneth Walker. Pickett's not playing.
No. I think if you're on next year's team, you're playing. Because number one, if you get an injury, you might get that injury in spring practice. You could get that injury in a game. Sure. Like, you'd have time to. You don't want. The other thing you don't want to do if you're ever is the quarterbacks. You don't want to get Wally pipped. You don't want to ever give up your position at any position, really.
Noah Kim just comes in and starts slinging it.
It'd be amazing for Noah Kim. Not so much for Peyton Thorne, you know. And so, yeah,
you have to ask the question. Like, when will it just get to that point where guys are just like, well, I'm coming back next year. This bowl game's ass. I'm out.
Right. Well, I do think there is maybe a point where people start leaving later, late in the actual season. And how it is, I'm trying to see right now on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app where we're at on the Michigan State line, because a lot of people have taken that game down as they sort of reassess what is going on. And look, it is.
I thought I saw -1 for Michigan State.
Michigan State was
on the board.
Michigan State was. Give me some Hoff for one quick sec.
Off.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad.
Woo!
Cockburn. Feliz Navidad.
Don't coach my team.
Feliz Navidad.
Okay, yeah. So the on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app, which still has it up, by the way. Some books don't. So another reason to download the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. You can bet the Michigan State Pitt game now. They have still Michigan State as a 1.5-point favorite, despite the Kenneth Walker news. I think that's assuming that Kenny Pickett doesn't play also. And we talked about this earlier. The bigger news being, I think, the bigger effect is the quarterback of the other team, who has more to do with more parts of everything. Now, you could argue,
but who's the backup?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I probably should do that research at some
Could
point.
be the next Kurt Warner.
But you could also argue that everything we've seen from Michigan State, that Kenneth Walker has an enormous impact. Like we've talked all year about, this might have been a 5-win team.
Right.
But, there's
and it's not like you can ask much more from Kenneth Walker, though, right? If you're Mel Tucker, you really can't try to talk him into it. You probably try talking him out of it. It's like, listen, you have NFL aspirations. We're playing in the Peach Bowl. Who cares?
Well,
fans care.
Yeah, you don't want the who cares. And we're going to get into this in the Groovy Donut Twitter questions here in a minute because there are some really good questions about what this means for the future of the playoff and if these games truly don't matter to the best players on these teams, and do they matter to the fan base? Like, what do you get out of like if you're Pitt, say Kenny Pickett doesn't play and Kenneth Walker is not playing, then does either fan base take much worth and stock in winning and losing? Certainly, if you lose, you're like, our guy.
We didn't have an offensive coordinator.
Our guy didn't play.
Yeah.
And so it gives you an out there. I think if you win, it's still cool. I think you still want to see your team play. I think for Michigan State, there's you still want to maybe see your receiver core at full go. I think there's some interesting guys at running back you'd like to take a look at. Maybe Elijah Collins gets a shot. We haven't seen much of him. He's healthy, I think, and so that could be interesting. But on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app right now, you can bet the spread. You can bet the total points, Michigan State total points, Pitt total points, first half, and over under and all that stuff. So if you if you have a feel for this of Michigan State without Kenneth Walker or Pitt, despite the uncertainty with Kenny Pickett and whatever happens there, I would you can go on and download the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app now and make your pick. They've got all sorts of cool promotions for your first deposit, your first bet, and hopefully you've already got it downloaded. You can just log in right now, and you've been following along for the last few weeks.
Hopefully you don't need any Hoff to log in.
Well, I wanted to log in properly, and make all that good stuff. All right, before we dig into your Groovy Donut Twitter questions, as we do every week, the what we're betting this week presented by Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook. Jason, what are you betting this weekend?
I know you're going to bore a lot of people with your soccer picks, but I got to go NFL this Sunday. Now, you're going to have to wait until Sunday, probably before, like 10 minutes before the game start, or watch some shows, some pregame shows, because I think there's money to be made here, Graham. With a lot of guys out, COVID-related issues, still love Arizona. What is that, 12.5 against Detroit? It's not because I'm hating on Detroit or hating Dan Campbell. I just think that's the smart game to play if you want to win some money or throw it in a parlay.
Yeah, I think teasing a teaser with Arizona makes a ton of sense.
And Vegas, Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland, who are they starting at quarterback? They're down 2 guys.
Yeah.
Just a quarterback, they're down 2.
They are playing the Raiders. So,
but I don't. Still, do they have more healthy guys? Derek Carr going to play? That's all you need, pretty much. I mean, it's Cleveland. What's the spread? Now it's Vegas -4. So I think there's a lot of good action, but you're just going to have to be patient and find a couple games that I think you can make money on in the NFL.
So COVID is costing me money. It's already costing me money because there are Premier League games this weekend that I would not have lost. I was definitely going to win. There were games that were so ripe. I feel like this is a conspiracy to keep me from making money this weekend. Manchester United, Brighton. I mean, Brighton sucks, and that line was ripe for the picking. That's gone now. That game's out. Southampton, Brentford wasn't going to bet that. Watford, Crystal Palace wasn't going to bet that, but was West Ham, Norwich, which is also gone. And so I'm unhappy right now. A lot of what I really wanted to bet this week is gone. I am to the NFL point, and we talked about this the other day when we picked the games. I like the Patriots +2.5 at the Colts. I like, as you pointed out, Bill Belichick is an underdog with that team against Carson Wentz. I just do. I just have a feeling. I like them. That Saturday night game. Love that quite a bit.
Matt Jones is 6-0 on the road,
right?
But he's not putting up big numbers on the road. But he's still they're 6-0 on the road.
And for the Premier League, which has been a lot of the fun from this weekend's been dashed quite a bit. Manchester City at Newcastle. I hate Newcastle. They got a goal to a day. Manchester City -2 on the road at Newcastle. I'm probably going to play that. That's going to be my other play of the weekend as long as that game continues to happen. Those are the games we're betting this weekend, presented by Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook. Download the app today, or go down to Firekeepers. And I'm telling you, the experience of Firekeepers, the restaurants, the events, the things they have going on at Darcy Sportsbook is a great place to watch games and bet live and enjoy that experience too. But the app is always there for you. You can download it wherever you download your apps. Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook. Are you ready to dig into these Groovy Donut Twitter questions?
Yes, sir. Dan Grafe up first. Does Graham still think Meyer will be a good NFL coach? LOL.
Yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
Did you really?
I think so. I thought Urban Meyer was going to – because he'd won everywhere.
It was a good fit, right?
I don't know why I thought –
Don't bet against Nick Saban, and Urban Meyer is going to blow it.
The best story I heard today was Brett McMurphy talking about when he worked for – he's now at Action Network, which I like Action Network, but when he was at ESPN, he used to do these things, I think, for game day every Saturday where he surveyed a few coaches and asked a question and whatever it was. But one of the questions was if you had to be in a fight and you could pick one of the coaches to be with you, who would you pick? And he surveyed all these coaches, and one of the people said Urban Meyer. And he was confused because Urban Meyer's not necessarily a big guy or a young guy, not a strapping guy. Why would you want him in a fight to be with you? And the other coach said, because everybody hates him so much that they'd kick his ass so hard and forget about me. That's how much people hate this guy. And in the way, the more you read, the way he treats people, and it's like he has one everywhere. And
but how would that fly in the NFL?
It didn't.
I understand that, but like, how would he think that would fly? Some of these guys, like kicking the kicker.
I didn't know that was going to happen. I thought Urban Meyer understood what it was to coach grown men, and apparently he didn't. And it was a disaster.
Or his coaching staff, saying he had a better coaching staff in Bowling Green or
maybe
whatever.
He might have, but that but
he hired these guys.
That's true.
Brought in Tim Tebow. My favorite video is him on the boat when he was on the Big Ten Network. Was that like in 2020? And the guy was like doing a bong rip behind him on the boat, and you see him just like looking at the guy like, no, what are you doing?
See, now you can do that. He should have leaned into it. It should have been like a Skymint deal. He should have been like, these are our guys from Skymint.
Don't bogart that.
Yeah.
Wait till I get off this bullshit Big Ten call here. Past that. Gluten Weasel. With so many players still to be determined for the bowl games, is it best to wait and get in some live betting instead?
Yeah, no, I would fire up the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook during the games and absolutely live bet because, one of the things you'll get to see when you live bet is a lot of times you don't understand it's not just what players are missing. It's how motivated one team is to be there. And it's something you can sometimes see in the first drive or two, like what's happening at the line of scrimmage. And it's just hard to know. It really is. And certainly with certain players, like the Michigan State game, you'll get a feel of the effect of no Kenny Pickett, right? And you'll get a feel for what's happening in the Michigan State secondary. And that is definitely a game. If there's no Kenny Pickett and no Kenneth Walker, I would.
But you're going to know before a couple days before the bowl game, right? Or at least day of. In the morning, whether or not guys are going to play.
Oh, you'll know.
Where the NFL, that's a definite live bet situation. The NFL.
No, you'll know. The NFL. The NFL, you should know an hour before, or so. You'll know the inactives, right? A couple hours before. I just think the thing with the bowl games that make it so different is we see it all the time is how interested is a team in being there, and that matters a ton in who wins and loses, and that's something like Ohio State. I think they're going to roll Utah a little bit. I like that, right? But there's a chance Ohio State doesn't want to be in that game and doesn't give a shit. It's the day after the playoff semifinals. It's Utah they're playing.
Oh, Utah, excuse me.
Yeah, Utah does. This is for them. It's hell yeah, we're playing Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. They were never thinking they were going to be.
Utah would want to be there. I thought it was Oregon.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's midnight. I can't. It's hot in here. Gluten Weasel and Mojo Jojo. Would an expanded playoff cut down on players opting out of bowls? Asking for several bum fans.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is why we're already there, in other words, in the expanded playoff. Our minds are already there. If it's not a playoff, it doesn't matter enough to play in the game if you're a star and you're not, and you're not coming back. Now, if you're an underclassman star who's not eligible for the NFL draft, you're playing. But yeah, if nobody's opting out of a playoff game. You go to 12 teams, and you're going to have 11 postseason games because that's what they'll be based on the format, where you're going to get the best players in every team playing, and you're going to have the best players on the top 12 teams playing.
I still think you see 10, 11, 12 seed guys still sit out, not play.
Not
because yeah, absolutely. Because you can tell that you're not going to beat the Alabamas, the Georgias, and all of that. You know your team's not that good.
You're still playing for a championship. I'm telling you right now, if this game in the Peach Bowl, now these teams wouldn't be playing each other in a 12-team format. But if the 12 seed Pitt and the 10 seed Michigan State were both in the playoff in respective games, Kenny Pickett and Kenneth Walker would be playing without question, I believe. And I don't think anybody would even ask. It'd be like, of course you play. Now, there may be a team here and there, but at that point, then really, as soon as your draft status is decent, why aren't you sitting out? Like, if you're not going to play for a championship, just barely get to October. Okay, I'm good. 4 great games in September. Let's shut it down.
Next from Mojo Jojo. How have you seen the show grow since 2018? Where to next?
How have we seen this grow?
Spotify deal for $50 million.
Is that what it is? Well, sponsorship's been good.
Yes, that has grown. I stopped boozing. So
yeah,
I've grown as a person.
Right. Your stories have gotten less interesting.
That's true.
Mine have gotten more interesting. Not true. Not true at all.
I still have old stories, though. I got a lot of them.
Yeah. The old stories we're counting on. And there's going to be people by request asking for some of those old stories today. No, I think the biggest thing is, if you listen to the early days of this, we treated it much more like a radio show. And
did it 5 days a week.
We did it 5 days a week for 2 hours.
I have to go back and listen to some of those shows.
2 hours a day.
Yeah.
And what made it great, though, occasionally, and we did like 4 breaks an hour, so it was too many breaks. We treated it too much like a radio show, even though most of our audience, like now, is in podcast and not live form and watching later and stuff. But the other thing is, it did allow us to get in some of our funniest segments were like off the cuff hour 2, when you would come up with stories about being in jail for 72 days.
Yeah.
Or things like that we were just trying to fill time, and sometimes those were great, and those there were good things like that. I would say that's the big difference, that we're more focused. We know what we want to be and what we want to do, and we now
what do we want to do?
We haven't figured that out.
Oh,
so, yeah,
okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
like,
bullshit.
wait a minute.
And
when was this meeting?
And we have great people like Skymint and Firekeepers that back us up, and Groovy Donuts.
Mojo Jojo. I donate $100 to a Michigan charity to see Santa Rube and his elf on the last show of the year. Perhaps other listeners too. # spread the cheer. What do I have to do? Dress up like Santa Rube? Is that what he wants?
Yes.
I have to get an elf?
Santa Rube on the shelf?
I'd do it.
Yeah?
Do I have to buy a costume? I mean, what do I have to wear for $100 on Facebook Live? Do I have to ring a bell outside of Walmart? I mean, what are we doing here? Costa Licos. If NFL prospects are skipping bowl games to avoid injury, why wouldn't they also skip the final regular season games? Why is the bowl treated so differently?
I think it's the break. I think your body, first of all, it's not technically on the schedule. It's not part of this weekly grind that you're in all year that you're sort of committed to. And then it's this thing that pops up later that has varying degrees of value to your program, to your teammates, to and certain coaches treat it like the beginning of next year too. And I think it's the month off. Like you talked, I do think Kenneth Walker at one point thought he was going to play in this game. You get a couple weeks away, your body starts feeling better. You're like, I'm ready to prepare for the NFL. You're not in that grind mindset with your teammates anymore. I think that's part of it. It's just, I think if the bowl games were a week or two later, almost everybody would play in them.
These guys are young. He's thinking about money and money only, which is fine. Dominic, where is Edmund Ide today? Can we get a column discussing his life trajectory after tattling about Graham getting schmucked by a car?
So if you missed this story, this is the story that came out last week, a story we're telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing. And it was about me getting hit by a car in high school and how I went back after lunch to school and thought I was just going to be able to continue my day. And Edmund Ide and jazz band was like, Graham, what are you doing here? Didn't you just get hit by a car? And then told the teacher that, and there was a big commotion in class about it, and then I had to go home, and it was embarrassing. And I should look up where Edmund is. I liked Edmund. Otherwise, I
thought he was a recruit that Dominic was asking about.
No, he's the other trombonist in the Fifth Hour Jazz Band at Lansing Sexton High School in 1993-94.
Edmund
Ide.
It's a tough name. Maybe. How many bowl wins will the Big Ten get? Need some Hoff.
Need some Hoff. Give me some Hoff.
Schedule up there.
Yeah.
Cockburn. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom
All right, so let's say I think Michigan State's got a fairly good chance to win. I'm picking Michigan State to win.
There's one.
Minnesota versus West Virginia. Minnesota's a hard team to read, but I think Minnesota up front. Nah, I don't know. West Virginia's just okay. Let's say 2 with West Virginia, and Tennessee Purdue. I've seen a lot of mix. I think I picked Purdue on this. But
I like Purdue.
You like Purdue. All right, so 3. That's 3-0. Wisconsin, Arizona State. Love Wisconsin. That's 4. And Michigan, Georgia. I'm probably going Georgia, so that's 4-1. Arkansas, Penn State. Don't know what Penn State team we're going to see. I'm going Arkansas there, 4-2. Iowa, Kentucky better win, 4-3. Ohio State, so maybe 5 wins. 5 wins if Ohio State wins. So that would be my play if I was if you wanted to do a 5-team money line parlay on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. That would be my play. Those 5.
Maybe. What is the best gift you've given someone other than Santa Rube keeping the spirit of Christmas alive for children of MILFs?
I love Michelle. What is the best gift?
I know you do. What is the best what?
What's the best?
It's going to be this year, so I can't really tell about it because Treese is listening. But,
okay. Before this year, what's the best gift you've given?
Shit. I mean, Coach. I've gotten girlfriends Coach purses and all sorts of weird shit. I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head. Any gift that I've been like, oh shit, I can't wait to give it. Except this season.
Yeah, I mean, I bought an engagement ring and tried to give it on Christmas, which would probably be the best gift I'd given. And then my then fiance, now wife's uncle, decided to surprise her and take us out for Christmas dinner, which sucked.
Just do it there.
In front of everybody?
Red Lobster.
Now, I had to wait a few days just before the warranty on the ring was up and try it then. And then, of course, went to get the ring and came back, and she was yelling at UPS on the phone, and it was very romantic. I was sweating naturally because that's what I do. So she still talks about the heat that was like radiating off me. I was so nervous as I asked.
I know what you went through.
Yeah.
It's tough.
You've been there with the ass cheek sliding off the couch.
Ass cheek, the whole family just sitting in the living room while we're playing cards. Yeah.
Stories Worth Telling, presented by Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing. An outstanding place for a drink with a friend at date night. I'm telling you, it's a great date night. It really is. Just the meal selection, the menu, the beer selection. I love the American Stout there. It is a cozy and spacious vibe. And, it is a place where you feel like you've got room, but you also feel in a cozy environment, and that's a really important thing I know right now.
Chris Fletcher, I either missed it or have amnesia, but can we hear the Santa Rube story again?
By request. Let's hear it. I think a lot of people have not heard this.
My cousin was a horny kid, and we lived together, and he would always want to go out because he was always he just wanted to get laid like every night. I just didn't have that passion. Believe me, I wanted to as well, but I just had Anyway, so Christmas Eve, we go to midnight mass. I go with my Uncle Ron. I'm not a church person, but if you're into that, that's cool. I thought it would be fun. The whole time we're at the church service at midnight, my cousin is texting with this girl. And he's like, son, we got to go. We're going to Charlotte after this. I go, what? I'm not going to fucking Charlotte. He's like, come on, son. She's got a friend. And I'm like, he talks me into that with a friend kind of thing.
This is Christmas Eve, by the way.
Christmas Eve. Yeah, and we're drunk in a church.
Naturally.
Right. And he wants to drive like 35 minutes. So I go, because you have to be kind of a cool wingman. He's a good wingman for me. Like, he was like the best wingman ever. He had no conscience and would go up to anyone. So anyway, we end up getting back to the car. We start heading to Charlotte. Show up. There's his, I don't know, girlfriend. I don't know, what do you call her? His I don't know. His girl of the evening, and her friend who looked like she just got done doing heroin or something. She had no time for me. So anyway, everyone ends up clearing out. Now, by the way, I don't see anyone else except for her because it's like 1 a.m. And I'm like, shit, dude. So anyway, everybody dips out. I start getting really shit hammered drunk because I know I have to sleep on this lady's couch. And so I'm doing shots of whiskey and all sorts of shit. They go taper off into the room. I'm like, oh God, if I hear him bang, this is going to be the worst thing. So then I just do more shots. I just get ossified drunk. pass out on the couch. So I tell my cousin as he's walking in there, I'm like, dude, we got to get out of here at like 4 or 5, something like that. It's Christmas Eve. I don't know what this lady is. What's happening here? So I pass out on the couch, wake up, because of some daylight peeking through the blinds there, and I'm like, oh, I wake up and I'm just a sweaty, hungover, just flop sweat mess. And I'm like, oh my God. So I go and I'm like, oh shit, we gotta get out of here. It's pitch black except for the Christmas trees lit. And I'm like, Nick. I'm like knocking on the door. I'm like, dude. He's like, so he comes out, right? And oh shit, I skipped over the one part. Excuse me.
The key part.
The key part. Sorry, I screwed up my own story. So anyways, he doesn't come out yet. So, I fucked this story up.
Go back to when you're sleeping.
I'm sleeping. I wake up. I see the light coming through, right? Anyway, so I open up my eyes, and as I open up my eyes, there is what seems to be a 5 to 6 year old blonde little girl standing in front of me, asking me if I'm Santa. And I have to tell now, mind you, in that instant, you have to think, I have to say something to save this girl from dancing on a pole in 15 years or whatever. So I said, I am not, but I heard he was here and there's gifts under the tree. Would you like to open one? Let's open one. And she picks one. And as she's doing that is when I go and I'm hitting the door. I'm like, Nick, let's go. Let's get out of here. So he comes out, he's hungover as shit, pulling up his pants or whatever. I'm like, dude, come on, there's a kid here. So the gift that she picks is like a board game. It was like the worst gift that she could have possibly opened. And I'm like, dude, I'm looking at him. Then the lady of the evening that he was with walks out with a baby in her arm. And I go, come on, we're out of here. We got to go. Merry Christmas, everybody. And we left. Now, I ended up leaving my phone there. We got all the way back to Lansing at my Uncle Ron's. I had to turn around, go back to this girl's house, and knock on her door. And she just put the phone out like on the step. Didn't even want to acknowledge me. So yeah. So there. Sorry, it was poorly told again, but that is the Santa Rube story.
It is fantastic. If there's ever been a story worth telling, it is that one, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue. And for that's worth a trip to Midtown Brewing Company on its own. That is a fantastic story, even with your fumble there in the middle.
I fumbled it, yeah.
It's still a great, an absolutely gem of a story.
Chris Fletcher, understanding prisoner of the moment mentality. Has there ever been a Spartan football player with a bigger one-year impact on the program than Kenneth Walker? Can one make a case for maybe Rodgers or Burris?
Yeah, that's a good question, because it doesn't have to be their first year, right? Is that what we're saying? So 1 year impact, their one best year, because Burris was there for 2, Charles Rodgers was there for 2. The Burris year, you could argue. Now they had a lot of other NFL guys, but led that. Here's the thing: you don't know where the program is going from here. So if this 10-2, which elevated a lot of things, leads to enhanced recruiting, leads to a quicker turnaround, leads to a lot of other things, then that elevates it above Burris, who had the same sort of thing happen, but then Nick Saban leaves and the program falters. So, Charles Rodgers was, I think just
he had a big impact, but like Kenneth Walker, before the season, were they thinking that Michigan State would only win 5 games?
And they only won 7, I think. Rodgers, right, 7 his junior year, his final year. He was brilliant to watch. One of the greats of. So it's hard to say, but certainly Walker, you can make a case for Walker against anybody, and that is absolutely fair to do, without question at this point.
Chris Fletcher with this one. Kalen Lucas and Draymond Green versus Cassius Winston and Xavier Tillman in a 2-on-2 matchup. Who wins?
That's a good question. So 2-on-2, I'm taking Kalen and Draymond, and I'll tell you why. Because as great as Cassius was, I believe 1-on-1 with the quickness of Kalen Lucas. That's what I want. And if you put me in a team setting, give me Cassius Winston all day. In a 2-on-2 setting, give me Kalen Lucas.
Dave in Traverse City, as exciting as signing day is for the fans and football staff, are there players on the team for which it is very nerve-wracking to see their possible replacements be so exuberantly welcomed by everyone else?
Good reading. That's a tough word.
It's hot in here.
I mean, I have to think if you're a player on the team, signing day is sort of like the draft in the NFL, where you don't want to see somebody at your position. You don't want to see a 5-star kid at your position, or a 4-star, or a kid, even a kid that the coach seems overly excited about, right? You don't want somebody like the coach is gushing about this new safety. We finally got somebody who can tackle. Wait, what? That sort of thing.
Or maybe that's a good thing that motivates the player.
You must certainly, if you've been around, you see it, and you also you know how hard it is for an 18-year-old to replace a 21-year-old, so you don't worry as much about that. But yeah, I'm sure it's not. I bet even this class doesn't love, like, you hear some coaches talk about we'll be better recruiting in the future, and then even Mel Tucker's talked about in 2023 they'll be in on more top kids, and if you're one of these kids, you're like, hey, I'm a top kid, fuck you, like I don't know, I would be a little like, chill, man. It's my day.
I can see a kid saying that today. Telling you to F off.
Maybe not.
Gideon, if MSU takes a big step back next year, how might it affect the 2023 class that's been hyped based on the 10-2 season?
I'll answer that. Before we do, this week at Groovy Donuts, Christmas tree donuts, right? Part of their exceptional holiday options. I'm telling you, if you've never had Groovy Donuts and you're eating other donuts, like you're just missing out. There's a tremendous difference, and it just the care and the cake-based donuts, and this is part of their Christmas donut series. It's a light, fluffy yeast donut decorated just like a Christmas tree. It is available by pre-order only at groovydonuts.com. It is a sizable donut, which I also love because I don't like to have small donuts. Or you can go to Williamston, the location there in East Lansing, during their business hours, Thursday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m., and make Groovy Donuts part of your holiday. If you've got a few family members over, Groovy Donuts will improve the experience. It'll make it a memorable experience. If you're hosting people and you add Groovy Donuts to your holiday experience next week, whenever, I'm telling you, it will be something people remember and people talk about. Go to groovydonuts.com to place your orders today. I mean, Zion was a big deal because he was a huge guy, and I just broke my chair.
Gideon, if Melty Moments introduced a new sandwich, what would you want to see? P.S. Been telling all my new Japanese coworkers about...
Sorry, I did not answer Gideon's last question. I apologize. I said I was going to answer it, and then we did the Groovy Donuts thing. And it was a good question. So here's the question about if they take a step back, how it'll affect the 2023 recruiting class. I don't think a ton. Now, it might hurt with some of the late kids you get in on, but I think where you're going to see the improvement is a lot of this year's class was done before the season or was done really early, and so the 10-2 didn't even get to take full effect. So the 10-2 should begin to you see the effect of it next year, and they'll have even more of a run-up on these kids and longer relationships and things like that. Now, the question will be, do they hang on to every kid if they have say things go really wrong, for example, and they go 5-7? Do they hang on to kids that were big deal recruits that they got early? Are they in on kids late? So you might see it there, but I think the effect of the 10-2 season will be more felt on the 2023 class than it was in 2022. Apologies, Jason.
No problem. Gideon, if Melty Moments introduced a new sandwich, what do you want to see? P.S. Been telling all my new Japanese coworkers about Kochu Endu Zarubu.
Appreciate you, Gideon.
Gideon, can you record that?
Yes, I'd like to hear the way you say it. Melting wants to introduce a new sandwich. What do I want to see? I want to see a version of Groovy Donuts Red Velvet Donut. That's what I would want to see. I would eat an ice cream version of that all day, every day, until it killed me.
Damn. That sounds great, actually. Gavin Haas. Does MSU win against Pitt without Walker?
Right. If Kenny Pickett doesn't play. Now, if Kenny Pickett plays, like if you get word Kenny Pickett's going to play and places like Firekeepers haven't adjusted the line yet, jump on Pitt, right? I think they will quickly, by the way. I do think if Kenny Pickett doesn't play and Walker doesn't play, I think the impact is more with the quarterback. I do. And I don't know anything about Pitt's backup quarterback. He's not a kid who's played a ton.
But we do know about the secondary that bends and breaks. So if the backup kid comes in,
it does. But you feel more confident putting pressure on him, seeing where he's at. If he comes in and surprises, that is what it is. I just feel like Michigan State's more equipped at the running back position to get by than Pitt would be at the quarterback position.
Next from Gavin. When do the 2022-23 national championship shirts come out for football?
Gavin's an optimist.
He is.
And I like that about Gavin.
You should get a tattoo.
Put it in right now, Gavin.
Michigan State national champs. Get that tatted.
Yeah, really lean into it.
15-year-old kids can get tattooed now.
I think so. And Gavin, again, we need to find out, Gavin, when your 16th birthday is. We'd like to know.
I think he's 21 by now.
There's no way. I just met him when he was 15. It was like 2 months ago.
All right, serious, Steve. Gavin Haas, who will go down as the best player from this year's recruiting class?
And the Upper Deck Jerk guy also asked this. And
screw that dude.
Yeah. It's a good question because, you have no idea, to be honest. There are guys, though, when you listen to Mel Tucker talk, that you just in tone. Like, I think Antonio Gates Jr. has a chance to be a fantastic receiver. He talks about long, athletic guy, takes the top off of defense, right? Polished route runner. Those are things you listen to and you go, okay, that guy could be for real. A guy like Christian Phillips. Now, he calls a dancing bear, 6'4", 350. There are guys when you listen to him talk, you think, was it Malcolm Jones? I believe was the player that they flipped from Virginia Tech. That he said one of the more physically imposing players he's seen play, and they're going to start him at corner. Those sort of kids, I'm very curious to see. Jada Mangum, but if I had to just take a stab in the dark, pedigree in terms of rating, in terms of what we've seen and skill, I think Antonio Gates Jr. has a chance to be it.
Jeff Dillon, do you trust all college football playoff participants to be 100% truthful with COVID testing from here on out? I don't. Follow-up, NFL has damn near 20% of players in COVID protocols, and we just are expected to believe the college teams are all negative?
So this is interesting. Now, I think their testing is different, right? In college, you don't test, depending on the place, unless if you're vaccinated, you don't have to test unless there are symptoms. So I don't think this is like some regular, whereas there's more testing on the front end in other leagues. And, yeah, you're right. If you're in college right now and you're a coach, you kind of don't want to know. If you're a coach playing in a meaningful, especially if you're a coach in the playoffs. And I would also, if I was a coach in the playoffs, I wouldn't want to mess with the antigen, the rapid test. I mean, Jason, I've taken 3 rapid tests since
today.
No,
you are the COVID king.
No, since COVID started, I've taken 3 rapid tests, I believe.
Okay,
all 3 have been wrong. So when I had COVID in the spring between shots, the rapid test was negative, and I was just living my life like I thought I had a cold for 2 days, and then the email came in and the PCR test said, you've got COVID, and I did. In the fall, when I thought I had COVID, it was because a rapid test came back positive. PCR negative. Took another rapid positive. I'm just saying the PCR tests are a lot less trustworthy, and if it's okay to take one and get a false negative, but you better be able to test out of that real quick. You better be able to take either another one or a PCR that can be turned in a day. Otherwise, I'm not a fan of the rapid test for vaccinated people, or especially if you've had COVID, because like one thing I have been told from people, not to turn the show into like a Joe Rogan hour here, we're giving COVID advice from some random voice on the radio, but I'm just saying we had talked to nurses and other people who, one of the things that happened if you had COVID, sometimes you will continue to test positive on the rapid, the way those are tested and judged. And that's what we found out. And so for me, I can't take a rapid test because there's a chance it'll come back positive at this point, even though I don't have COVID. So to answer Jeff's question, that was
story brought to you by Sparrow.
Yeah, that was
Sparrow Health Centers.
I'm not going to tie that to any sponsor.
Thank God.
I don't. It's a great question. I don't think a lot of them are testing as often because I don't think most places, if you are vaccinated, you have to test regularly if you don't have symptoms. But I would be surprised if it doesn't impact the playoff because it's already canceling college basketball games this week. Look what it's done to the Premier League and my fucking Premier League bets. And certainly in the NFL and NHL and NBA, it's going to be, the next few weeks, I think we're going to see a lot of this.
The Danimal. How satisfied should MSU fans feel with this recruiting class?
I think really satisfied because first of all, it's the best class just by the numbers of stars and all that jazz since 2016, which was, obviously turned out to be a disaster for Michigan State, that class, but it wasn't in how it ranked with the 10 4-stars, and that was a class that was coming off that 3-year run. It was incredible. And so this is the best class since then. This is in line very similar to the 2010 class, which Michigan State built its initial run off of. And I think when you get 5 4-star kids, and they missed out on some guys, some other 3 stars that you can tell Mel Tucker loves in their evaluation, I think it's a class that has a chance to be really good. Now, is it a class that's worth $9.5 million? If this is the class in year 4, I don't know that that's enough. I think you've tried to pay to get to a next level, but in what's essentially your first full recruiting class for Mel Tucker, this is really good.
Do you think in 4 years we'll stop saying $9.5 million before anything we say?
He'll probably be the 12th
for $9.5 million. I mean, it's not bad.
He'll probably be the 12th highest paid coach in the league. So be like, it's a bargain.
Yeah. The Danimal. MSU Michigan basketball game played at Northern Michigan. Who says no? The players.
I mean, I would love it. I would go because I love Marquette and I love
40-year-old white dudes love it.
Yeah. It would be really cool though. And the problem is their basketball arena isn't as cool. It's cool. That's also where they play hockey. The Superior Dome, which you'd have to set it up in there, I think, and do something fun with that and play it in the Superior Dome, which is the largest wooden dome in the country and maybe in the world. It's I might just be making that up, but
totally made up.
No, I'm pretty sure it's right.
When you went for the world, I knew you were
okay.
Shit.
Hold on. Niedhoff.
Feliz Navidad. Cockburn. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
It's the world's largest wooden dome.
In the world?
In the world, according to Wikipedia, which is never wrong.
That's true. It's not like you can edit that or anything.
Don't worry about that. It would be cool. It would be very cool for a game up there. I don't think Michigan would go along with it, but I would be down.
Professor, will MSU have an improved pass rush in 2022? Better than this season? They seem to be light on defensive ends.
Yeah, you see one already in the transfer portal. I would not be surprised that Chris Bogle kid, the kid from Florida, and he was a really highly rated recruit, has not really been, I don't know, used correctly or all that. Just hasn't been all that productive at Florida. So we'll see. He was, there's a couple other kids, and this was an interesting quote from Mel Tucker on a defensive end. Let me make sure I get this right. Yeah, Chase Carter, 6'6", 214 pounds. So certainly, they've got to get him in the weight room. But he called him just what the doctor ordered in terms of edge presence. That they need an edge guy, and that you can tell Mel Tucker's hopeful on that, and we'll see. There's no question they got to get better there.
Professor, if you had to pick one current or former MSU basketball player to take a game winner, who would it be?
Do you have a guy offhand, like your ultimate clutch dude?
Ultimate clutch dude. Who's the most clutch dude in Michigan State? Right? I mean, Magic Johnson, obviously.
Peak Sean Respert would be up there.
Yeah.
Even when they lost that game to Weber State in the NCAA tournament, it wasn't on him. He was draining them.
But he's a shooter, so you're
right.
Definitely want him.
You want a clutch shot. Yeah. No, I'm trying to think who else would be, would Cassius
Keith
be that?
Appling.
Yeah. Give me Sean Respert.
Yeah. Jordan Bunt, if you could be any bowl game other than the Rose Bowl, what would you be?
I could be other than the Rose Bowl. Existing as a bowl game. I don't know. I would probably be the Orange Bowl because I'd live in Miami, or I don't know.
If you could be a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
The next best bowl game beyond a playoff, right? Because and those are rotated through those. If you had to pick the next best game, what do you think is if you had to be in a game that wasn't a playoff game, Rose Bowl would be number one. What would be number two for you out of all those top games?
Jimmy Kimmel Bowl.
There you go.
Just to have Harry, just to stare at Harry with his shirt off.
Yeah.
In the stands.
Fiesta Bowl will be up there, Arizona. That's a pretty sweet area at that time of year. Miami, Orange Bowl, but I would probably go the Fiesta Bowl.
DeUper, how did the Rube and the couch meet? We want an origin story. High school pals, roommates in Kazoo, both used to know a guy pre-Skymint. That would be great if that's how we met, through a drug dealer.
Yeah,
and we had that story. We don't, but
yeah, we definitely
a story worth telling.
It would be a story worth telling. So we met the first time was you were in that seat and I was in this chair probably.
No, I met you before then. Like, because I helped out with Ebling's TV show, right?
Was it
I met you there?
Ebling's TV show we met?
Yeah, and you came in and you guest hosted, or you came in here, did Jack's show, and I don't know. I've met you before that.
Okay.
Before we just sat here and did a show.
And I feel like the first time we hung out might have actually been over at the old the bar,
the waterfront,
waterfront bar. Yeah. So we met through other people in our sphere of Spotlight Media, and then we hung out at Cody's wedding for quite a while. When Jason was,
oh man,
that was the day that Therese on her second date had to hold your penis and help you pee, right?
Yeah,
another story worth telling. Presented by Midtown Brewing Company. I'm not sure they want to be affiliated with your penis, but
who does except Therese?
Right, there you go.
Thank God for her.
Yeah, so that was how we
roommates in Kazoo.
That is awesome. And new guy free Skymint. By the way, Skymint right now has an incredible thing going on, the 12 days of holiday. If you go to skymint.com, you can see their latest deal for that day, and you can always use the Couch and the Rube promo code CouchandRube20 for 20% off any Skymint location throughout the state of Michigan, and including 3 in the greater Lansing area. And you can also sign up for their emails. And it's one of the cool things. Also a great follow on Instagram. They do a ton on Instagram, more than we do, certainly. We don't even have an Instagram account. We should probably get an Instagram account. We don't have an Instagram account. But go to skymint.com, sign up for their emails. You get their deals that day, and can also find location information and things of that nature.
Jeff Haddis, if Jason and Graham's relationship is it like Rod Allen and Mario and Bemba's, next time Jason goes for the wrong chair, Graham is going to lose it. LOL.
Yeah, we're not Rod and Mario. I don't even know how much those two hated each other. I don't know. Do you think so?
Oh, yeah. You don't all of a sudden, you don't jeopardize a $500,000 gig like that by fighting over a chair. That has to. And I've heard stories, too, about how they just didn't like each other. I mean, I've heard radio guys, morning show guys like Opie and Anthony that just despised each other and got together on the show and had a good time.
So Skymint and Firekeepers and Groovy Donuts and Midtown Brewing Company, they're very kind to us.
Are you going to do this after every question?
No, but they're very kind to us. But what I'm saying is they don't pay us $500,000 a year. So if we didn't like each other, at least like being around each other, there's no way we could do this show.
Absolutely not, yeah.
I mean, there was one show, and it always stands out to me, where we got angry on air. Do you remember that show?
I do.
When you snapped at me or something?
I did, because I just asked you if you wanted to keep doing the show, because Graham had this habit of walking in, and then if there was a problem or something, he would explain the problem to the listener, which you're not supposed to do, and that set me off, and I was probably drinking that day, and I just snapped, yeah.
I remember that show.
Sorry about that.
But that tells you, I mean, we've been doing 650 episodes or something like that.
It's bonkers, dude.
And and we've been doing it since beginning of 2018, 3.5 years, and there's one moment on air where things got really tense, and I remember it.
Yeah. We don't like conflict. It's not very fun.
We're both scared of each other.
Yeah. Jeff Addis, do you know the story behind the Keontae Goodwin commit? Sounds a lot like Malik McDowell.
I don't know that that's the case. Well, I think part of it was, they've been recruiting him at Kentucky's for a long time, since he was, a middle schooler. And we had a conversation, with if you listen to the midweek show with Colton Pouncey, I believe Colton talked about the how they stuck with him when he had some weight issues in high school at one point. Like, they had a long-standing relationship with him, and I think that's a big part of it. But I think Mel Tucker made a compelling case. I think it's a good sign for Mel Tucker that he's able to go in there and this staff and get guys thinking. And he definitely, I think.
I mean, was it true that after he did commit to Kentucky, he still hadn't signed a letter, or was that just
not till late today? Yeah, no.
Really?
Yeah, no. It took a while. It was a story day, and to the point that I called my editor, because I wrote a column that went online last night about the whole signing day and what I thought of it, but it got into a little bit in the Keontae Goodwin, and I had to tell him, it was going to run print tomorrow. Hold on, I may have to adjust this. and we did not, fortunately for us.
Next one from Jeff. When will we know what's going on with Jared Horst and Quivarious Crouch?
I think you will, to some degree, within the next few weeks. I mean, Crouch, people always assume is gone. I don't. A lot of people that's sort of a narrative. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. Horst, my gut says doesn't come back, but I don't know that for sure.
Jeff Oswald, how can any coach bitch about the name, image, and likeness deals and kids following the money and do it with a straight face?
It's a fair question, considering all the money they've taken. The stuff that, like, Dabo Sweeney said. I mean, here's the problem: is coaches just aren't a good vehicle to talk about this because they've made so much money.
Dabo
for so
talking
long.
about education?
Yeah.
Are you shitting me? How can Dabo do that with a straight face? These kids don't care about education anymore?
What you need to, I mean, there are issues with it potentially on this end, on the recruiting end, and there are kids who might get manipulated and not go to a place they want to go because their families need money, and so there are going to be issues with it. And I'm not saying we don't have to deal with those. It's just the coaches themselves, even if they make good points occasionally, are not the right vehicles to make them, unfortunately, because they may just make too much money. If for a coach to do this, they would have had to make a stand long ago and say, you know what? I'm not making $5 million. I'm going to make $1 million, which is still a lot, but I don't believe that I should be paid that much when my athletes are just on scholarship.
There should
not
be a
making
cap, right?
Well, if you're a coach and you wanted credibility on these issues, you would have had to make a stand like that because you can't be hauling in, multiple million a year and then making comments about how the finances are affecting this. Are there athletes? I mean, this was not free labor. I'm sorry. Scholarships are something. These guys are making, depending on the place, like $25K a year in scholarship and other things, and that's
one and done guys, though.
But I'm saying some guys aren't worth the scholarship they're on, but those guys aren't getting the NIL. The NIL is market driven. Are there going to be issues on the recruiting end? Yeah, there can be stuff that they're going to have to figure out because there's going to be some really, really seedy shit that goes on. But so what? There was seedy shit before. It's just different seedy shit. And we'll have to figure it out.
Now everyone's doing it. Jeff Oswald, how can any coach bitch? Oh, shit, I just read that. Were either of you aware of Izzo's accordion prowess?
Yeah, so this is stemming from the Christmas party at Reno's they do annually. They used to do it at, what's the old sports bar that went out of business?
Cheetahs.
No. Damn it. It was in Frandor. Trippers.
Oh, Trippers. Yeah.
Back in the day. Almost died in a Trippers parking lot once. It was... But well, no, it was one of those things. I came out of Trippers. I'm with my dad, and it's the year that Paul Ettinger beat the Lions to keep the Lions from the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
And so it's it's the year after the Citrus Bowl, 2000 season. And I'm home from school, and we go to Trippers to watch the game because it's during the new, back when Fox just took over and they're blacking out home games because they weren't sold out at the Silverdome. It's just before they moved to Ford Field. And so everybody's drinking for 3-4 hours in Trippers, as one does. And then angrily, after this field goal goes in, everybody's pissed off. Pissed off at the Lions, as one often is. Pissed off at the situation. Pissed off because they used to like Paul Ettinger. Drunk, walks out into a parking lot that is a sheet of ice, gets in their cars, and drives off drunk. That was the whole thing. I mean, we just sat there for a minute. We almost got hit by, just sitting there, we almost got hit by people. And I'm like, we're not trying to drive for 40 minutes. We let the place clear out. So it's an exaggeration that I almost died, but it was not a safe place. If a cop was sitting there, he could have picked people off one after another after another.
Izzo playing you off.
A story not worth telling, presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue in downtown Lansing.
Question. Now, the freshman had to sing a song. Imani Bates comes to Michigan State. There's no way he's singing the song.
He's singing the song. He would have been indoctrinated into this.
No way. Jeff Oswald and Eric Larson. How happy is Izzo that Imani Bates went to Memphis, assuming everyone on the MSU team was still there? What do you think the season would look like so far if Bates were on it? Is it true that Izzo backed off Bates and didn't push as hard as he could have late in the recruitment?
Well, there was definitely a disconnect. I mean, I don't think they thought he was coming. He decommitted from them. So I'm not sure on all the dynamics there. But
did you watch the Memphis Bama game?
I did.
Oof.
I lost money on it. I
had Memphis.
Yeah, I know. I had logged on to.
I figured Memphis had to do something at some point. I figured Bama was coming in after that win.
You were right, and
Yeah.
I was totally wrong. And because what I should have seen, like I logged on to the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Boom, -3 for Alabama. Love them as a team. If that game was replayed, I would make that bet again.
Yeah.
But a lot was taken out of them in that Houston game, and
But Amani Bates, though.
Bates is the worst player on the floor. He only played like
Terrible.
15 minutes, and he didn't play most of the end of the game. And the thing is, they're playing him a lot at point guard, some too. And if you're the point guard, you got to make other people around you better. He doesn't do that. He takes wild shots. Like if you're the point guard and you don't make other people better, you are the worst player on the floor. So Amani Bates right now is the worst player on the floor when he's on it, because despite all his talent, he does very little to contribute.
And it's not because he picked Memphis over Michigan State. I'm just watching him as a basketball fan. I'm like, what is he doing out there?
He's 17. It's an argument not to reclassify, to not be in a rush to do this stuff. And look, as long as he accepts his role there and they let more of the veterans play and he is 15, 20 minute a game guy.
Never.
Well, if it doesn't happen.
Been told that he's a god since 14 on the cover of Sports Illustrated, taking a backseat to any older guys.
Yeah, and the question about Izzo is, like I've said before, I thought it would have worked out well or at least had a chance to work out if Bates came next year with this group having sort of solidified itself in its place and its roles and having some leadership, and then Bates comes in a year from now and joins him as the freshman, not as part of these freshman group, but as a freshman when these guys are sophomores and older. I think that might have had a chance if he had stayed in that class. This year, I don't think it. I mean, he wouldn't have been very good. And he's not going to play over Tyson Walker at point guard. You're going to have him on the wing. He might have been better off. The problem Memphis is Memphis doesn't really have a point guard, which is part of their issue. So I'm sure Izzo is not crying over not dealing with that headache for sure.
Eric Larson with this one. Does it feel like a wind tunnel where you are too?
It's been fucking windy, man. We had a piece of our roof fall off today.
Really?
Just not a huge piece. My wife
Did you almost die?
No.
Oh.
No. I did exaggerate that a little bit with the
just a
trippers.
Skosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's windy. Spartan 18770. Should Mel Tucker hire Urban Meyer to one of the open spots? We could offer a lifetime membership to Omar's in Hawaii Spa.
Well played. Yeah, I don't think Urban Meyer coaches for a while. I'm not saying he won't coach again in college. Somebody will give him a shot somewhere.
1,000%.
But I think he's radioactive right now, and you're not going to hire him next year, and you're not going to hire him. You're not going to put him on TV right now. Certainly not going to hire him in the NFL.
Why? You can't put him on TV? Because he kicked the kicker, cheated on his wife?
Nobody wants to hear from him. Yeah, yeah, certainly.
Why not? He's a great football mind.
Those aren't good things to have on a resume. There are other football minds besides the guy who's kicking the kicker and cheating on his wife.
He's a family man. Next one from Spartan. My very reliable sources has crystal balls for both Armani Winfield and Kenyatta Goodwin transferring to Michigan State in 23. Buy or sell?
The transfer portal means you always want to keep these relationships open. Like you don't want to, if you're a coach, just because a guy goes somewhere else, you don't stop.
It's got to be brutal, though. For coaches.
Oh, yeah.
How are they doing this?
On both ends. Like the idea that you recruit a guy and now you get him and, you may lose him after a year anyway and you put all this time into him. I think, talking to Sadi Washington, who's now at Michigan, obviously, when he was at Oakland, and we talked a lot about this because they used to get all these transfers. They still do. But they'd have some incredible high major transfers before this transfer portal stuff was happening like this. And he'd say, we would recruit kids that we knew we couldn't get out of high school. But we knew they were about to make a big mistake and go to a place that they didn't fit or they weren't going to enjoy. And we thought we could get them on the back end. And they would recruit kids and build those relationships thinking about the transfer. And I think there are places now where you have to do that. And even if you're, so just getting in, it used to be, what was the value of getting in with a 4 or 5 star kid if you weren't going to get him? If you're like the 5th guy on their list, who really cares? I mean, maybe your name gets mentioned, but what's the real tangible value? Well, now if you built a relationship and you might seem like the greener grass for them, you might get them a year or two down the road.
Next one from Spartan. Who do I call to complain when my Couch in the Rube shirt doesn't show up by Christmas?
Yeah, right here. This is where you call. Now, having said that, I do know some of them were shipped out today.
Yeah.
The rest shipped out tomorrow. They should arrive, what we've been told, early next week. So you should be in great shape. And for those of you who ordered, we appreciate you. We're going to take a really quick break here. Tons more of your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook.
Where else can you cheer on your team? Enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi. Sip on handcrafted cocktails or one of 46 beers on tap. Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen, Bar, or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Skymint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Skymint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Skymint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Skymint Cannabis. You'll love this place. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. Trust matters, especially when it's your money. Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management work hard to build a relationship of trust by providing thoughtful, objective guidance and placing your interests first. Invest with knowledgeable financial advisors who are on your side. Call today and tell them you're a friend of the show for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. 248-626-2000 and ask for Mark or Jay. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus.
Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to look better, love better, be better every damn day of their lives. And our Thursday night show brought to you by our friends at Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook. Download the app today. Make your bets for this weekend. And Jeff Dillon, our friend and listener, says the play for Friday night is NIU on the money line in the Cure Bowl. That's his. Look, and Jeff's no idiot. NIU on the money line. So he's putting it out there, and there's value on the money line. Hold on. Give me some Hoff real quick, and I'll pull this up, what we get for that.
Feliz Navidad.
Cockburn.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
So if you log in to the
Hold on.
if you log into the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app and take the money line about plus 320. That's pretty good for Northern Illinois. It's plus 10.5 for Coastal
value.
Carolina, so it's great value. Money line's the play. Rocky Lombardi. It's a good bowl game. Good Friday night. And I like where
He's no dummy.
He's what I said.
Jeff Dillon, no dummy.
Well, that's another shirt we can make. By the way, Jason Aikens, another listener, to the question of most clutch MSU basketball player, put Scott Skiles.
Oh, hell yeah.
Number one. Yeah, that's a good one. Now, both of us, though, we're not that old. Like Scott. I mean, I remember Scott Skiles playing at Jennison Fieldhouse. It was like the earliest games I went to as a kid when I was like 6.
I don't remember Magic.
No, but he was before you were born.
So, just because it wasn't in my time frame, I can still watch highlights and know that Scott Skiles was money.
That's fair.
Call me Al. What does James Franklin say to kids to get them to Penn State? He's a douche. Penn State is ass and in the middle of nowhere.
It's a great question. I mean, because I don't know that I'd believe. I mean, I guess I'm not a huge Franklin guy.
He's a good sales guy, though. He has that energy and vibe around him. Like when I saw him at the Big Ten Media Days, he just, you know what I mean? He's just, you can tell he's got that good vibe.
It is a beautiful campus, too. And, one of the things Mel Tucker said is Michigan State is better than people thought it was, the recruits who come up. Because Michigan State's a beautiful campus. It has that going for it. Penn State's aesthetically a very nice campus, very nice little town. Now, you get up there and you're insulated in the valley for long enough, it's not great. But you don't realize that on a recruiting visit necessarily. It's got 100,000 people. They get great crowds, and it's got good history, good uniforms. I don't know. You know what they don't do at Penn State? Fucking neon uniforms. Maybe that's it. Stop with the fucking neons.
Neons are great. Call me Al. Who would you rather enjoy Skymint with, Santa or Easter Bunny?
Easter Bunny's a little more creepy to me.
Graham and Santa together. Holy hell. Just a heart attack fest.
You
guys would be hammering food.
Yeah, you give me Skymint with Santa. We'd get into the pantry.
And then you get all paranoid. Like Skymint, you do some Skymint and look at that Easter Bunny and start looking like the devil and shit.
Yeah. You don't
gotta go Santa. Santa would be jolly and you'd be happy.
Yep, absolutely.
Easter Bunny, you'd always look over your shoulder thinking that little fucker's gonna like bite your kneecap.
Yes, totally.
Dan Campbell. Call me Al. My wife likes Hot Tub Time Machine more than Back to the Future. Grounds for divorce. How old is she though?
Yeah. Dude.
I mean, if Back to the Future, it doesn't really hold up. I mean, for us, a lot of those 80s movies are complete ass, but we still love them because we grew up on them.
Back to the Future holds up. Sort of.
Which one? First one?
Well, how about Hot Tub Time Machine? How many times have you seen that movie?
A couple.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Okay, there you go. So
I'm kind of with his wife, though. I mean, I understand being mad about Back to the Future, but if she's younger, I can understand.
Okay.
Does she think Back to the Future's ass? Now, she says that movie's ass. That's grounds for divorce. Jimmy. More on Rover and Jimmy take over.
So move on.
Move over, it says.
Move.
Huh? What?
Sorry.
You want to
I'll let you do this.
You read this. Move over, Rover, and let Jimmy take over. Walker's out. Pickett will soon be 2. Tucker recruiting like a dog in Georgia. I think Pitt in the Peach in Georgia is the best matchup bowl game for our dogs now. And in the future, what say you? Let me stand next to your gram of knowledge.
So, Jimmy, I do think that there is, like if you look at the future of Michigan State, if that's what matters to you, I think this is probably better than the Fiesta Bowl. Because if you look at the number of Georgia players that Mel Tucker is recruiting right now, and how much he's saying that is going to be someplace they live because of the relationships they have. He and a couple other coaches have spent significant time down there, and you lean on where you're comfortable. And they got 9 guys from Georgia. They got tons from Georgia in this class. I think being in the heart of Georgia for their bowl game is not a bad deal. Being around those guys, maybe some of those guys are at the game or on the team. For sure, I think this. In terms of maybe not your enjoyment, best vacation destination, maybe not as much cachet as the Fiesta Bowl and playing Notre Dame or something like that. But in terms of value for the future of the program and recruiting, I think there's absolutely, this is the best possible scenario of the scenarios that were available to them.
Kenny Golds. Graham, did you book your trip yet for September 17th in Seattle?
I did not. First of all, hotels are pretty pricey already there. I don't know what the fuck Seattle thinks it is. I've been to Seattle. It's okay. I mean, I like Seattle. I
rains a lot.
I will. Yeah,
depressing.
Rains here quite a bit too.
Yeah, it's depressing here too.
I will book it at some point. It is one of those. My wife wants to go to Vancouver if we go, and she may go with. So we have to kind of. But
is Vancouver and Seattle?
It's close enough, and I've never been to Vancouver. I've been to Seattle. That we've talked about doing this trip. So I'd take a few days on the front end or back end, and which side of that we do will partly depend on who Michigan State plays before and after. It looks like Akron, I think, before, which makes more sense. But after, They might move the Big Ten schedule around a little bit. I don't know if everything's out. Long answer short. We'll fix this in post because it's a shitty answer. No, I have not booked it yet.
Could have been over about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Couch
right.
on fire. Tuck lost out on some big-time recruits on signing day, just as D'Antonio did. Need a better closing message?
No, I mean, D'Antonio didn't late, though. He wasn't in on these guys. And, you know, some of these are relationships that you have to get in earlier. You know, and so when you look at the two guys they missed out on, the Winfield kid, the receiver, who was previously a commit to Texas that they got in on and then wound up going to Baylor, and you know, your big offensive lineman, Goodwin, the guys who were long-standing commits elsewhere, they're trying to flip guys. And so you want to be in on some of those guys that you've got them, that their initial commitment is to you. And so, you know, I don't know that those are two fair things to really judge them on.
Couch on fire, 35 points for Foster Loyer last game, over 50% in threes this year. What would he be doing? Would he be doing as much on MSU this year?
He's definitely found his confidence, and the league he's playing in is no joke in terms of, I mean, it's not like he's playing Division III ball or something like that. I don't know that the confidence was going to happen at Michigan State, though. I think he had to go, and other than the opportunity to have a groovy donut named after him as the Frosty, which might have been kind of cool if he stuck around and there was just nothing that was going well for him at Michigan State, and I think
Wendy's works with that one better.
Oh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Didn't think about that.
No disrespect to Groovy Donuts.
No, none at all. And by the way, as we mentioned, Groovy Donuts has tons.
Oh, damn it!
Yeah, tons of great.
Sorry, listeners.
Tons of great holiday donuts. Hey, people want to know this. Tons of great holiday donuts. But you can also tailor what donuts you want. They will make special donuts for you. So if you want to do donuts for a special occasion that's not Christmas, say you celebrate Boxing Day on the 26th, or you celebrate a birthday near Christmas, and you want to make, or you want to have something that celebrates your team. If you want a Peach Bowl donut, they will design an awesome donut for you, and on whatever flavored donut you would like with the usual Groovy Donuts quality. Go to groovydonuts.com, place your order today, or visit either of their locations on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston.
Next from Couch on Fire, Aiden Hutchinson to the Lions, a reward for his snarky MSU tweet.
So, Aiden Hutchinson to the Lions, Michigan State fans hate this guy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Would they get
They're
over
still
it
gonna hate
quickly?
him.
You think so?
Yeah, because the Lions are hateable. They're not going to be good next year, right? Aiden Hutchinson's going to be hateable on the Michigan State.
Yeah.
I mean, Michigan State, do people really care about the Lions anymore anyway?
So, hold on. The Lions, year 3, Aiden Hutchinson sacked to send the Lions to the playoffs. What do Michigan State fans or Lions fans think?
They love him.
There you go.
Absolutely.
I think
you get past that.
But I do think if you ask them, the kid from Oregon, right, is the other player they're looking
Thibodeau.
at? Yeah. I think they'd rather he be the one drafted. Michigan State fans would prefer that.
Yeah, I want to win at some point. Al, who do you think the Pistons should draft? Chet, Paolo, or someone else?
I don't know, and I'll tell you why. Because last year, all year, it was like, well, first of all, you don't know where they're going to be, but it was all about Cade Cunningham. Then we found out he's 6'6" and not 6'8", and they probably wouldn't have drafted him if there wasn't that momentum all year. So I don't want to find out that Chet Holmgren isn't 7 feet, that he's really 6'4".
He's 7 feet, yeah.
And, whatever. And Chet Holmgren
His
looks
neck
like,
is 6'4".
Yeah, he looks like the real deal. I think you take the absolute next year, wherever they draft, and they're going to draft high, you take the absolute highest ceiling, most likely to be a star player regardless of position. Because Cade is a little bit positionless, but you need that player still. And maybe it's Cade Cunningham, but you need star. And so I don't know who that is yet, though.
Al, what is the best groovy donut to leave for Santa as a bribe if I hypothetically ended up on the naughty list this year?
I mean, red velvet's my favorite. Just love it. I mean, I've loved a lot of things there, but I'd go with that, with the red velvet. You're likely to get good gifts.
Al, my 7-year-old nephew asked me if we're going to have a white Christmas. What should I tell him, Chris Eastlick? And then he says, will there be a white Christmas this year? 50% chance. Could see it going either way. Signed, Snow Stout.
Thank you, Chris. Good response from Eastlick.
Next up is Eastlick. Graham, forget your columns and my hot takes. Can your mom edit or screen the tweets of out-of-touch college football coaches who call players making money or transferring a flawed system? Good to hear from you, Gene Chizik.
Yeah, Chizik. God, some of these coaches are
just, the Chisinator or whatever he is.
These guys are morons. Like, they just don't understand how dumb it just doesn't. It just can't come from you. You know, it's I don't know if it's
douche. He's always been a douche, though.
Yeah, and he's
who cares? Like, why do I care what Gene Chizik says?
You can't be a douche and ugly too. Like, he's ugly, you know, and then nobody's gonna listen to you. You know,
it's a double whammy. You got to be a good guy if you're butt ugly.
Yeah, right. Totally.
We know. Chris, is it bad that I've interacted with Graham so much on Twitter now that I have friends who texted me during his recruiting rant saying, "Tell your boy Couch to relax." Appreciate you, Graham. I'm glad I'm not alone. He gets his friends doing that too.
Appreciate you, Chris.
My fucking friend Jordan sends me about 5-year texts. He goes, "Fucking Graham." I'm like, mute him then.
I apologize. It is, and we talked about this on Wednesday. It is the one day a year I struggle because I feel not ignorant, but I don't feel like in my usual position of knowing everything, and I don't love it, even though it's an important day, and so it's a job to me instead of being.
Is it because you don't know? That's why you don't like being a part of it. Like, you get the gist, but you don't know, like, some of these guys like Alan True or whatever.
Yeah, I don't spend my year. I don't spend my year on this, and so and I don't and I don't think you can just jump in on it and do a great job, and I don't think you can.
You have to be all in,
right?
If you're recruiting,
analyst. Right? I don't think you can cover Michigan State basketball well in November and December, and have a real sense of the recruiting scene, and I'd prefer to do the other way. And frankly, if I had to do the recruiting full time, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do this job.
Brett, does Urban Meyer ever coach again? Obviously not NFL, but even college. If you're a 16-year-old kid, why would you want to play for that asshole? Because he gets lap dances from hot blonde chicks?
So here's the thing, right? Urban Meyer has won enough in college that some AD, someplace, somewhere is going to say, let's try it if he wants it, right?
But what school? I mean, is this going to have to be like a Patino situation? I mean,
right. How far down does he go? Is it the Oregon State of the world that says, yes, we can get Urban Meyer now? Like, I don't know what program.
Because if you're Urban Meyer, though, you have to come back and coach something, right? Or you're not going to leave your legacy just sitting like that.
Maybe him and Gruden can team up and do something together.
That would be fucking beautiful. I would love that. Brett, is there any chance MSU adds more members to their 2022 class?
Yeah, I think it's almost assuredly. I mean, one of the things that's interesting about the way it's set up now, and Mel Tucker referenced this, through June you can add transfers, and certainly in February you can add players. There's a whole other signing day. Now, I don't think they're only looking to add probably 3 more, just trying to do the numbers offhand, but I do think you will see, and it depends on how many they lose, if anybody else leaves and things like that. I would be stunned if they don't add 3 to 5 more players.
Brett, what's the worst fast food chain? I'll start. Fuck Burger King.
Brett's not happy about. What's your worst fast food chain?
It's not that it's bad, but just Chick-fil-A. Like, I just
the Peach Bowl sponsor.
Yeah, whatever. I don't like people telling me like, oh, you got to try this, and people wait in line. I dated a girl once that wanted to wait in a 2-hour line. I mean, who gives a shit? I've had it. It's all right. It's not the greatest. Whatever, right? I mean, just waiting in line for fast food. It's insane.
Yeah, it's not fast.
Yeah. Burger King's all right, though. TT.
I do like a Whopper.
No shit. TT, ranked shirt sales so far. Refs suck, Tuck, or Couch in the Rube?
I don't know what the Tuck one is. Do we have a Tuck one?
Do we?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Trees, get on that.
Yeah, I'd have to look, and I don't have the numbers offhand. But we were very pleased with the number of people who wanted shirts, and very appreciative.
Any of you that wanted one.
We were stunned, frankly, but we appreciate you.
Yeah. Next from TT. What's the official narrative now after the Ohio State blowout? Fuck me. And don't have horses, then Michigan crushes Ohio State?
So what's the official narrative? So is this a Michigan State? I don't know where the question is here. Like, what's the official narrative for Michigan State after that blowout? And then, look, Michigan State this year was not in the realm of Ohio State, especially once they were beat up. And they were never, it just matchups. That was a bad matchup in a lot of ways. And Michigan State played the game of its life and had some things go its way to beat Michigan. I don't think Michigan State's a better team than Michigan, and I don't think many Michigan State fans do. I just think that I think they won the game, and they won it fair and square, and there's been a little trouble on the other side to acknowledge that.
TT, blink twice if Horst is not out for medical reasons.
Define medical. That's what I would say. Like,
define medical.
Well, there are all sorts of reasons.
Mental.
There are all sorts of reasons that you can be, somebody can be out. So it isn't. From everything I know, it has nothing to do with
blinked twice.
It's not behavioral related.
Next from TT, is Quivarious Crouch at risk of leaving, or am I reading too many comment sections?
Yeah, that sort of seems to be the prevailing theory. I know, Ebling thinks that perhaps. I have not heard that he's gone, and I don't want to put those words in anybody's mouth because I don't know what decisions have been made.
Bo McJunkins, over under 1.5 freshmen playing significantly in the secondary next season.
Oh, I'd put over. Well, here's the thing. Xavier Henderson has not said whether he's coming back or not. So that'll add, that'll have some effect there in terms of number of young guys. But I do think there are some guys. Corner is a position you can play young, and they struggle there. I would be really surprised if you don't see a couple corners playing. There are guys they like at that position. I would be stunned if you don't see over 1.5 playing significantly next year.
Bo McJunkins, who will be the most impactful recruit from this class, not named Caden Hauser?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier Antonio Gage Jr. I think there are a number of guys that they like. You have to look, if you're talking about next year, right? You have to look at guys that are enrolling early. Like they like Braden Miller, the offensive tackle, who they think will help early. But again, I know he's still an offensive tackle. How many freshmen play like that? You look at guys who are going to be there in January, though. Those are the guys that I think would have a chance to have an immediate impact. And so we'll see. Obviously, beyond the freshmen, you have to think all the transfers are being brought in to contribute right away.
Ken Chu, is this group of freshmen the best singers Izzo's ever had?
Did you see Pierre Brooks? He was into him, man. That was kind of cool.
I did not see it, no.
It was he sang Jingle Bells.
I didn't listen to it. I did see the video.
Yeah, he was. I don't know.
And that made me think Imani Bates wouldn't be up there.
I've not seen all of these. I've never actually attended one. I've seen some videos of them over the years, but these go way back. I remember like Shannon Brown as a freshman doing this. They've done this this Christmas party thing with the freshmen singing for at least 2 decades.
Clint Bainey. Guys, who do you take in a game to 20? Make it, take it during their MSU careers only. Team 1, Magic, Randolph, Sean Respert, Adrian Payne, Charlie Bell. Team 2, Mateen Cleaves, Jaron Jackson, Denzel Valentine, Andre Hudson, Miles Bridges. Team 3, Scott Skiles, Greg Kelser, Paul Davis, Xavier Tillman, Jason Richardson. Team 4, Cassius Winston, Draymond Green, Steve Smith, Mo Pete, and Jumpin' Johnny Green. The winner, hold on, Graham, I'm not done. Clint Bainey's not done. The winner gets $10,000 and a night out with Selma Hayek. The loser has to hand wash the other guy's underwear over a rock in the Red Cedar River for a month. No pressure.
Jesus. For this imaginary game, that's a lot. That is pressure. I like Team 4, by the way. The Cassius, Draymond, Steve Smith, Mo Pete, Jumpin' Johnny Green.
Yeah, we heard them all.
But if you give me a team with Magic and Sean Respert, I'm going to start there. So Zach Randolph, Adrian Payne, Charlie Bell, that's good. But give me Magic and Respert, and I'm taking that team.
Gavork. Wouldn't one remember Vertigo when listing great Jimmy Stewart movies?
I love. So this I mentioned it was A Wonderful Life we were talking about, and I mentioned the great Marquette-based movie Anatomy of a Murder, which I would recommend is a great holiday black and white 1959 film if you're ever in with the family over the next couple weeks. Vertigo. Are you a Hitchcock fan?
No.
Okay.
No, I can't say that I am.
No, more of a yeah.
Hitchcock. Are you a Hitchcock guy?
Yeah. It's
no, I can't.
More
say
of a Cockburn guy, huh? Yourself.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Mr. Neurotic Pants. To clarify, Jason, Graham, Elizabeth, and Treese did not have Heisman votes, right? Because Spartan Twitter had a meltdown over Graham's intelligent column regarding the ignorance of said voters.
Appreciate you, Mr. Knockpants. Yeah, I was a little. I don't think there was a meltdown though. I think most things I read about the column I wrote were pretty positive. People were happy to hear me be blunt and honest about it. I don't know. Did you see many people upset with it? We're talking about the one where I said I was the reason, like that Kenneth Walker didn't win.
Yeah, I see it from all angles sometimes from you. I mean, for people that read your stuff and shit. But no, all in all, people like your stuff. I guess. Is that an answer?
Thanks.
I don't know. Mr. Neurotic Pants. So what if after Couch said, "Good show, man," Jason replied, "It sure as hell wasn't," and stormed out?
You should do that just once. Just leave me stunned. Like, what? Shit. Because, again, we've only had really that one.
Fuck, it was.
Beef on there. Yeah, it would be brutal.
Oh, shit. Mr. Naughty Pants. Graham, do you, like many white people, get excited about going to IKEA? Dude, IKEA blows.
It's awful. Have you been to IKEA with Therese?
I've never, but she's ordered some IKEA shit. And
you
I'm like,
put it together.
No, I don't. I said, if you order it, she puts it together. She's smarter than me. But just because I'm a dude, misogynist, do you think women can't put IKEA shit together?
No. First of all, Elizabeth and I have very strict rules on this because we've seen relationships end at IKEA. We don't go together. She usually builds the things because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. She sometimes has extra parts, which is sometimes a little concerning. I did build our last shelves, last thing that she got there, but no, I am not a big fan of IKEA. I will never go to IKEA. I hate that exit off Canton and Canton. Oh, fucking, jeez, it's just awful. It's an awful
Isn't
exit.
it like 2 hours away here from here?
Yeah, it's an hour and a half.
Is it that great of stuff?
Well, it's inexpensive furniture that's decent that you can get that,
How about a ladies' day out? How about the ladies go to IKEA? Huh? Why do guys have to go? Neurotic Pants. Jason, if the pod or Spartan Twitter had a whack pack, who would be in it? Oh, definitely Lats. Lats would sure be in it for sure. I don't know if I wanted to say anybody else, right?
Yeah, just maybe.
I mean, who would be in our whack pack?
I'm not saying anybody.
Oh, okay. Spawn of stout sponsors. If Kenneth Walker and Kenny, by the way, being a whack pack isn't a bad thing. Spawn of stout, whatever. Spawn of stout sponsors. If Kenneth Walker and Kenny Pickett don't play in a peach bowl, does it make it a sound? Today's question brought to you by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Midtown Brewing Company. Watching the Redbox Bowl by another name? Then get blown out of your mind on Skymint Gummies and MBC Stout because nothing about the bowl is exciting.
By the way, speaking of red boxes, I was in Charlotte, Michigan, where you were for where Santa Rube was, not far away, and to get my booster shot at the CVS there, and because there's plenty of vaccine available in Charlotte, Michigan. Red box outside the CVS. So the Michigan State may have killed the Red Box Bowl, but it did not kill Red Box.
They still have those?
They still have those outside the CVS. Red Box. It was absolutely it definitely loses some luster. There's still some decent storylines for Michigan State. Seeing how they do without Kenneth Walker gives you a sense of how much they need him next year. I think there are interesting things to think about Michigan State going forward based on how they do without Kenneth Walker in this game.
Graham's 3 quick takes are already done. He doesn't want to tell you. Hans Jurgen, ever shat some excrement that smelled so bad that you had to flush it right away while you were still sitting down and unfinished with feces exodus process?
Sorry about this. I usually don't include this. I missed this one from Hans.
You know what? But he's on to something, though, because I always say, what is wrong with a courtesy flush? I don't understand people that take a dump and just sit and smell their own waste and blow up a bathroom. The handle's like right behind you. Just drop a Browns off to the Super Bowl and hit the thing.
There you go. Hans,
right?
You happy?
Yeah.
You got one in. You got one by me.
That one. Hans, what's worse spilled? Coffee or smashed donut?
Oh, smashed donut. Because a coffee, you just brew it real quick. But that smashed donut, if I got to drive all the way back to Groovy Donuts.
Why are you smashing donuts?
You wouldn't do it intentionally, but you could sit on a donut, or you could put something on it on the seat next to you and not realize it,
Is that like rock bottom if you sat on a donut?
No.
They ask you like what your rock bottom is.
I would think there are lots of worse things.
I cried. I sat on a donut and I cried.
No, I would. I mean, I don't think so. I would still eat it.
Hans, what's with all the recruits from Georgia?
It's where, I mean, you go where your relationships were. Mark D'Antonio had them in Ohio. And what'll be interesting to see, though, is Michigan did this a few years ago where they recruited a ton of kids. I think it was Georgia. It was from the South, and a lot of them didn't pan out. You get kids coming from a long way at home, and it's interesting to see. I think they're probably more likely to transfer and that sort of thing. But you get a great, you get a higher quality player down south generally. And so I there's just more of them. And this is where Mel Tucker has relationships, so he's leaning on it.
Next one from Hans. Graham, if you were on your deathbed, would you record a broadcast in your final hours? Not for this shitty show, but for Spartan Speak, at least with Chris Solari. When you want to do something you love in your final moments?
You think Spartan Speak with Chris Solari would be my choice in my final moments, huh?
On your deathbed?
On my deathbed. No, it would
make the show more interesting.
It would be. It would be. I mean, I would, yeah. No, I'd sit there with, here's what I would do that would be related to this show on my deathbed. I would sit there betting games with money I no longer had or needed on the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app.
Just doing mountains of blow. I mean, why not?
While throwing back gummies, I've always wanted to have the whole bag of gummies from Skymint. I would actually do it this time while pounding groovy donuts with a plate next to me from Midtown Brewing Company and a plate on the other side from Cask and Company in Front 43. Just getting fat because there'd be no repercussions. It would be an amazing
death.
Yeah.
That's the only repercussion.
But death was coming anyway. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Upper Deck Jerk Guy, of the newly signed recruits and transfers, who will have the biggest career impact?
We got into this earlier, and so I'm going to go a different way than what I said with Antonio Gates Jr. So let's say that's the guy I think has a lot, but biggest career impact. So I'm going to take out the transfers now and look at the guy I'm really there are a couple guys I'm really curious to see, both Malik Spencer and Malcolm Jones, two defensive backs of similar size. I think Spencer will be at safety. Jones, they're going to start at corner. These are guys that I think could be really outstanding players for them just based on things I've read, people I've talked to. There could be a lot of different ways. And, again, my choice off the top was Antonio Gates Jr., but to give you something else, the two guys I'm very curious to see, I think those guys could be it.
Next one from the Jerk Guy. Bro, do you even Jolabacafalorio?
This is another word I got to look up.
Jolabacafalorio?
They're just trying to trip you up. But
Is
I think
Icelandic?
I think you did it pretty well. Let's see what it actually means, because he always puts real words in here. It's Icelandic, yeah.
Cockburn.
Yeah, well done.
On a-hole a lot.
Christmas book flood term used in Iceland for annual release of the new books. Whatever. It's well done by you, man.
Lastly, Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Have you ever been attacked by a wild animal?
Have you?
A wild animal? Dog's not considered wild.
Well, some dogs are. Like, if a dog's not on a leash, it's a wild animal. Like, I don't know why people think a dog, it's not like you can reason with a dog. If a Doberman is chasing you, you can't sit around and go, hey.
I had that happen when I was a kid.
Same.
It scared the shit out of me.
Same. I
never pedaled so hard in my life. This thing was like 6 feet tall. It was what it felt like. It was just coming. It was just gliding at me.
Did you make it?
Yeah. I'm still here.
I mean, yeah, we had Dobermans chase us to a friend's house that got out from and Doberman. I'll never own a Doberman. I would never own a lot of dogs, but I would never own a Doberman for that reason. Yeah, a dog can be a wild animal, but beyond that, I've never been attacked. Have you,
I don't think so. Yeah,
wild boar or anything, aardvark or nothing of that nature. We appreciate all of you and all of your Groovy Donut Twitter questions. Outstanding stuff as always. We appreciate Groovy Donuts. Go to either one of their locations in Williamston or on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing between 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. Thursday through Sunday. Or just go online. Order groovydonuts.com. We also appreciate Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue. You can start your weekend with a Saturday brunch at Midtown Brewing Company. An awesome choice. A lot of other great meals to have there, I'm telling you right now. Just an outstanding menu. A lot of different things. Comfort foods, lighter meals, salads, sandwiches. We appreciate Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. If you're looking to play the games this weekend, download Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app and have some fun. And thanks to Skymint. Go to skymint.com. Couch in the Rube promo code. Couch in the Rube 20 for 20% off. Jason, good show, man.
Sure as hell wasn't.
Have a great weekend.